Third-party content has been copied and communicated pursuant to Part 5A or 5B of the Copyright Act, unless indicated otherwise.
Thank you, Matt. So my title at Autodesk is I manage the education program offering in those couple of countries mentioned there. So today with the presentation, this is the overall agenda. So I'm going to go over what we do with the education and with Autodesk technology, some of the trends we're seeing in industry and academia, how that's shaping what's happening in the university and even the secondary school space. And then I'm going to share the education programs that we offer to help students develop their skill set in the BIM area. So, my role really is about three things, and that is providing access to Autodesk technology to students and to teachers. Then also providing reasons and opportunities via programs and competitions to learn our software technology. And therefore becoming skilled in the BIM area. So I'm not too sure if people have seen this report. It was released only in March, and it's the business value of BIM in Australia and New Zealand. So it's a great read for any design, construction and architecture firm that's either using BIM or planning to use it in the future. So it really provides an in-depth analysis of how BIM is growing globally, but also the developments and the positive ROI that is being seen by the implementation of BIM as well. Some of the high-level or key takeaways are those listed above there. So I think initially when BIM was touted and the process was starting to be defined, these are the benefits that were touted as being available, and that would happen if you start to use BIM in your methodology. But what we're now seeing is companies that are actually using BIM are actually realising these benefits. Oh, back the other way, sorry. The other part that when we look at the increase in ANZ, so there's a great development of what is happening here, with many more firms either taking it up or actually looking at developing it further and using the processes and knowledge to their greater advantage in the business place. So we also see this as a really exciting time for students studying in architecture, engineering, construction, etc., because the skills that you're learning and seeing now are still being developed and are going to be big in the industry. And even in my role, it astounded me, at the end of last year I had a couple of phone calls, believe it, from graduates, first year out, that one was from construction, one was from manufacturing industry, that because of their skill set and the things they learnt in university, when they went to their new company, the company actually spoke to them about what is happening in BIM, what do you know about it, what do we need to know, and they were given the decision to look at their software purchase and the technologies that they should implement in their company. So that's a really powerful position that students are now getting to because of the access and the new information provided to them and the future implementation of it in industry. So this is the link to the report. Perhaps we can share that later if people want to download that and read through that report to see what is happening and to see perhaps where the opportunities are for businesses in ANZ as well. And we even see a recent AFR Financial Review story just recently on BIM Boost for industry. So a lot more information coming out, a lot more real data about the proof of it and how it is benefiting in industry. So building information modelling, we've got definitions of it, but it's an intelligent model-based process that Autodesk really wants to ensure that it gets in the hands of students via the university design students, studios and the learning materials. And it really helps users to plan more effectively, to design more intuitively, build more accurately and manage things more effectively. So innovative BIM workflows and next generation technology provide substantial benefits and improvements over the traditional methods. And Autodesk BIM solutions are enabled by innovative technology including cloud, mobile and social support. And these help advances in collaboration, coordination, communication, also with simulation and optimization. So what I want to do is highlight a few areas that Autodesk are moving into, especially into the mobile area and cloud technology that BIM will be moving into as well. Yesterday we had a technology day in Melbourne, and the Tech Solutions guys were presenting this in more technical detail, so I apologise that I can't actually demonstrate to that level, but perhaps next session we can get one of those guys to demonstrate some of these things better. Those guys are actually in Brisbane flying back at the moment, so we couldn't get them down here in time to show. But I just wanted to show you a few of them. So one example is our movement into the mobile computing platform, where we're actually taking BIM out to the field and bringing the site into the app technology. So this is one called Format, where you can capture building design and concepts digitally online, and you can do that anywhere you want to. So you can be out in the field or in an office, it doesn't really matter, and you can combine it and collaborate with other students at the same time. And this way you can combine your real data with your concepts to explore, to see exactly what, well not exactly, but experiment with what you can develop and what you can explore with. So I've got this little video here which should show you how it operates. I think I've got sound. Oh, what? Play will help. I'm looking at the sound one. So this is an iPad with a student with real-time live data and just drawing potential building developments and changes. You can see another person, another student at the same time, grabbing their iPad, grabbing the format, grabbing the same model at the same time. And you can see one student editing and changing the model, which is reflected on the other student's iPad at the same time. And it's the same, those students coming in, the model at the same time, and start conceptually designing, thinking about what they want to do. Okay, so just one of the apps that we have involved there. One of the guys yesterday was actually showing his wife is a primary school teacher in Sydney, so they were using that to basically use ReCap to scan in their school and then basically demonstrate new buildings that could be created quite simply. So it really gave that visual representation of what could happen, what could be, and then those models can be brought directly into Revit for the more definitive type of development of the model. So, other two of our cloud type app technologies are BIM Field and BIM Glue. So, Glue is the product that we're looking at to combine models and to actually manage the whole BIM process. And again, it shares the models at real time so that it doesn't matter who's working on what model at any time. The model data is shared so that any changes can be reflected and seen straight away rather than later on, and then people have to rechange and re-edit what they're doing. BIM Field 60 is where you can take your tablet out to the field and you can actually show it up against the real building and show your designs against it to see what's different, to what's been made to the real data that you were designing originally. It can be used for things like if you then out in the field have your iPad up against the design and you change the length of a beam, that will be reflected back on the central model automatically generated. So in olden days, perhaps in many businesses still currently, people will take notes and say, we need to change that door, rechange it, write down the notes, write down the measurements, go back to the office, grab their model and re-enter it. So this can be done on the fly out in the field. So these technologies are all available and happening now. This Dynamo I only just saw this for the first time yesterday, and I read about it only very briefly. So if you are a Grasshopper or Rhino fan, this is a similar type of technology that Autodesk have developed called Dynamo, and basically allows you to do the visual programming for BIM. And down the bottom there you can see some of the companies that are actually using this Dynamo software currently. So on the next slide, I do have an example, a screenshot of how it works. So you can quickly grab in your visual programming, and you can select, as you can see on the left-hand side, you can select your month of the year, the time of the day, the output, etc. So down the bottom of the screen here, you can actually see the sun rotating through the day, and at the same time, you can see that the curtains or the outside veneer of the building changing and reflecting, so that in summer it actually keeps the heat out, and in winter it does the opposite. It keeps open during the sunlight hours to allow the heat to help reduce costs of heating, etc. So another technology that comes under the BIM family that we can use to help make our buildings more efficient and more effective. So everything is really moving to the cloud. I got a phone call today from University of Queensland about a research project they wanted to do, and said, before we start, I've got one question for you. And he said, you probably get asked, he said, when is Revit going to Mac? Because you've got AutoCAD for Mac. And it was interesting, when AutoCAD for Mac came, it was actually a little bit secret within Autodesk as well, because they didn't want people leaking it and telling things out, so it happened. But what we're seeing, and so my answer to that is, I don't know. I don't know the answer, so sorry to let you down if you're interested in that area. It might be released next week, who knows? But the way I look at how we're developing our software is everything is moving to the cloud platform and becoming platform independent. So those apps I showed before were on tablets, on mobile phones. So I see where Revit going is to be moved to a cloud-based type solution. So again, as I said, you could be on your tablet using Revit, those sorts of things. So that's where I see it happening. In the digital prototyping area, we've got a product called Fusion 360, which is like that. It's like a invented program for digital prototyping, but it's all cloud-based. So especially in education, it's terrific, because what we're finding in many universities and schools that have computers that might be 3 or 4 years old, they can use this latest technology on basically dumb terminals as well. So Autodesk 360 is one of our cloud solutions where you can go and register for an account. It allows you to store files. It allows you to share files collaboratively as well. A lot of our student teams that are in competitions are using this, so when they do their models, they can actually see who updated what file at what time, and they can share that to each other and assign tasks using the cloud. With industry, we have cloud credits, so and it's tied with the purchase of licensing and subscription. And the cloud credits mean that you can use that to simulate or render your designs, and that can be done obviously much faster because it's done through the massive server base that we have in the US. We did a really good case study with a UTS student last year. We asked him, it's just the classic way he answered it. He said with his project for, he's a built environment construction student, and he was talking about his project, and he said he had to render his project. He tried the cloud, and it took him 3 minutes to get it back. He said his project, when he tried that before, took him 4 hours. So a massive reduction in time. So what that meant for that student is that he could then do that, fix it, fix the errors, enhance it, fix the errors, enhance it, do those reiterations. He did it 4 or 5 times, whereas previously, because of time delays in studies, he would have had up the initial project. So you can see that happening in industry as well, where if cloud is used for that rendering, your results can come back straight away virtually, and you can work on it, improve much quicker, be much more efficient and effective in the way you do it. We might have time later, but we might not. If not, Google Run Amy Run. It's quite funny because it's about a university mechanical engineering student and her architecture friends, and it's typically there, as you can guess, a student there sleeping in late for class, having to get a project due that day. Lots of bad things happen during the day, like her bike, I think, gets stolen and a few other things. But she quickly goes and sends her project up to the cloud to get it rendered, goes and gets her coffee, comes back, it's done. She finds the major errors quickly and she fixes it. And it just shows the process of what people can do and how industry can use our cloud services for making their rendering and simulation so much faster. So I'm going to move on now to the learning content and education programs, which is my main area that I'm responsible in for the reasons we mentioned before. And we've actually changed this quite a lot recently. A lot of this was not behind a firewall, but it was actually in an area called our education community, where basically you had to be a student or a teacher to access it. When we developed some of the learning materials, we had quite a demand from our technical people and from industry that had seen some of the training materials to allow it open to industry to use. So now it is more open, and we encourage people to download and access some of these facilities. So the first thing we do have, though, is our education community portal, which is our main portal for students and educators. So we have over 8,000 members in that globally. In Australia, we currently have around about 230,000 students and educators registered for that site, and it's going up about 55,000 per year. And we've had currently, over the last couple of years, 470,000 downloads of our software products. So that's including Revit, AutoCAD, Inventor, Maya, Max, etc. So our products that are used in industry, we're getting students downloading and using this now. The exciting part now that I'm seeing from our numbers from last year is the actual bigger growth is coming from secondary school area. So we're getting secondary school students learning Revit and using Revit. So when they get into university and get into industry, these guys are going to be flying with their technology, and there will be see some great changes happening in the BIM space. So we do have curriculum, and it's the BIM curriculum on the left-hand side was the one that we actually made us take it outside of our education community and allow it available to industry as well. Because this is a learning tool that is initially developed by professors in Stanford University in the US and Northumbria University in the UK, and now we have a lot more collaborative input from many other people from around the world. And you can see the headings there: architecture, construction, structural and civil engineering. So we keep that up to date with our latest technology and incorporate it into learning, so that lecturers can really take that and lecture without actually, I shouldn't say that, almost not knowing their subject, because we have PowerPoint presentations, we have the lecture notes, we have student notes, tutorials, etc. If I can, I will quickly jump out and maybe show you the architecture one, just so you get an outline of what it does look like. So this is the site here with the description of what it is. And as you can see, we have architecture and the other type of AEC platform is on the top. So in architecture, when we click on that, here are our units of work down the bottom: BIM modelling basics, advanced BIM modelling, BIM design methods, computational design, etc. And each one of those then delves into the, as I said, presentations, exercises, tutorials. So if you want to learn more about the BIM process yourself, whilst this is meant to be really for a faculty member or a lecturer to present and teach BIM concepts and architecture concepts there, it is a great way to learn more about the concepts and the other things that you might not learn at a university.
So I'm assuming at that point, and you've politically avoided saying that some universities aren't quite there at teaching yet and all that sort of thing, but more importantly for people who have left university, who have industry, who missed that BIM window of teaching, so they can access that and learn it themselves.
Exactly. So that was locked behind you had to be a student with a student email address, etc. before. Now it's out there for people to use and to go and access it. And it's been, as I said, it's been constantly updated all the time. So you will see the new concepts, new technologies that we're developing being included in there, and it will provide a lot of other links and resources for you to go to, white papers, etc., to learn more about the information that we're gathering at Autodesk as well.
Yeah. Have you had much stats or feedback about sort of, let's call them mature age students, the postgraduates going back and learning or
okay.
filling in the gaps?
Interestingly enough, we have what we call ATCs, Authorised Training Centres. There are a lot of training centres as well. One of the highest one of the highest percentage of people taking courses at these authorised training centres are graduates. And that is because they get a job and then they realise they need to learn other things that aren't taught in university, like software skills as basic. And A lot of the universities and professors we do talk to say, well, that's not their job to teach software, and it's not really, but I think they should be looking at the opportunity for students to learn the software as part of their courseware, and there's plenty of e-learning materials and other resources like this that can be used at universities to allow students to gain the knowledge of their course, but also to get some of that in-depth, that knowledge and skills that is actually required and based in industry. So it's quite an interesting stat, that as well. The sustainability workshop, we've actually got a sustainability group, terrific people, and that site is constant, and that's really old, the screenshot there, because they update it almost every month with new techniques, technologies, information about sustainability, and they do break it down at the building side and into the product side, and that's a great way to learn about practices about sustainability in the workplace. They actually have now set it up so that they do have something called a Building Performance Analysis Certification program, which allows you to actually do a course within it, and by doing that you can learn those headings on the right hand side there to cover those areas. So actually you learn instead of you trying to read it, you're actually doing a little mini course within the sustainability workshop, and you get a nice little certificate for yourself when you finish going through that course. And it is just a resource that is full of new information, and we get almost every second week updates about new concepts, new white papers, new information on sustainability and how it can be used in design as well. So just a great resource. And there's an example of the reference materials and the quizzes that come with it as well. So a little bit blocked off. One program I really want to promote to students out here, and also it actually should be called, it's actually Education Expert Program, not Student Expert Program. So we mentioned before about our Autodesk Education Community, where it's a place where students can download and access software. This is a place where if you're passionate, you don't have to be an expert at any extreme. If you're interested in BIM or interested in our software, our technologies, I really encourage you to join at the site there, which is studentexpert.net. So it's interesting that there's 2,900 members, 300 joined up last week. So we've just recently appointed a program manager. He's in Europe, and we've got mostly European students that have joined there. So it's a place where you get additional benefits, additional training opportunities. You get access to ADN, Autodesk Developers Network, and access to new beta products. Like, for example, Dynamo, if you're part of the Student Expert Program, you would have had access to that a couple of months ago and we've been able to play with it and get in front of it that way. In Australia, we've only got 29 students, so we're looking to increase that. Those students there, that's UTS construction students at the top, and down the bottom is the University of Adelaide mechanical engineering students who developed an electric jet ski as part of their final year project. And they shared that and got some information from other students from other universities to help them with their final year projects with it.
Just on that one quickly, the Deakin students, there is a group there already set up, so if you search in groups, I've set up a group for Deakin, so you can go ahead and sign up with the Student Expert group and head out to the Deakin group as well, and you can also communicate through there. You may not know everyone in your course and things like that, so you can always meet someone within that group and meet up with them on campus, so they might be from different campus. So that's all there ready to go. There's 2 members so far. Let's see if we can
let's get more. And also the Educator Expert part of the program is being developed right now as well, so I encourage if you are an educator to join as well, because there'll be more programs specifically offered to educators, especially helping teaching BIM and other concepts like that as well. How it works is, by encouraging you to join this site, you'll get skills and additional benefits, but we also sort of ask things back from you as well. And there's a point system, a bit like a frequent flyers system in there. So if you do things like attend a course, you can register that and put down points that you've gained. If you do things like orientation week where you promote some of our technologies, or if you run a tutorial for other students. So one of our leading students is from Tasmania, UniTas, because they found at their course down there that they weren't learning the software skills that they need when they did work experience. They were out of their depth. They were told, show us how you use Revit, and they didn't know how to use it. Abdul at Unitas, he's one of our leading ones because he's put down all this training session he does for students and tutorials as well. But there's a whole lot of other ways by entering competitions that we do, by submitting projects, sharing projects and things like that, that allow you to get points. Now,
attending sessions of
this will qualify, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely would. Yeah. Probably 1,000 points, but probably more. And also you can see down the bottom here, we've got hired by. So especially in Europe, we've got quite a few companies jumping on board now as part of it, as sponsors of it. And this is where we're seeing that these companies are now going to, because you can come out with a degree, but have you got BIM skills, have you got Revit skills, etc. And these people in there can demonstrate their abilities by being part of this group. So Learn, Connect, Promote. So with Connect, a terrific example of this was 2 weeks ago, and I should have known better. I got a phone call from a high school in New South Wales, in Sydney, that they had an Italian exchange student. Now they were doing Revit in Year 11, so and the teacher said, great having an exchange student, but he doesn't speak really any English at all. And it's pretty hard to help him keep up with the rest of the class when I'm teaching Revit in English. So he said, have I got any tutorials for Revit in Italian? And I said, well, I don't think I've got any Italian files on me because I'm not really Italian background. And I should have known better. I should have jumped on the Student Expert Network. But what I did, I went to Bjorn, who's in charge of this in Europe, and said, hey, Bjorn, I just got this query. Is there any free or any Revit tutorials in Italian that we can share with this school? He put it up there within 10 minutes. 10 minutes, we had 4 posts from students in Italy with free Revit tutorials in Italian in 10 minutes. So it's a great place if you're a student doing a project and you're stuck. Instead of Googling and trying to find it, post it in here and you're probably guaranteed to get results that quick. So it's just a great way to collaborate with students around the world. Also with the Connect part is we did send one of our students to AU, which is Autodesk University in Las Vegas, 3 years ago. Anthony from he was Uni Queensland, but now doing his PhD at RMIT. He won one of our design competitions, and he had a pretty good time in Las Vegas. We made him present in front of a group, which made him a little bit nervous, but he realised that he was actually pretty advanced, very advanced, whereas he thought he wouldn't be that well developed. So he really enjoyed that. We sent 2 students. They were from UTS to Singapore. We had a boot camp for students there. Currently, there's been one developed. There's one going to be in London, a boot camp for students in Europe to attend. So what we'd like to do when we get our numbers up big enough in Australia is then look at that and potentially hold an event where we can get students from around Australia together, have workshops, boot camps to develop skills and share ideas as well. So these are some of the things we're planning with the Student Expert program. So as I said, don't need to be an expert, just need to be interested, have a bit of passion in this area, and we'd love you to join that as well. So that really brings me to the end of the presentation today. So hopefully that gives you a fair bit of indication of what we're doing with the education at Autodesk in the BIM area, and also a touch of what we're doing in industry as well. So thank you for your time, and if there's any questions, or if not, I'm happy to have a chat with you later on as well. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Thanks very much, Brenton. For those of you who don't know, I've been involved with Autodesk and software for quite a while, and predating Brenton even. And the changes they've made to the education program is quite amazing. So well done to Brenton and his team, and certainly taking that. Back in the day when I was assisting some universities, there used to be some manuals that used to come in a box when you used to get software on a CD, and that was about the extent of it. And now there's an enormous amount of information. They don't do the manuals anymore, that's all right. But yeah, all of this is obviously much better and much more where it needs to be for education in, I guess, the 21st century. And for those of you in the room who aren't students but want to know more, then the good news is that you can log on to the same resource. And also that you download and utilise the same software. So the software is actually a 3-year term licence, or a limited licence, which is a great, certainly a lot safer and a lot better than the local, was it Geelong markets, that some other software is found from. So you might as well, when you've got the resource there for free, utilise it, download the correct software, use the tutorials, and learn that way. You're never too late.